Heyo, Qylex here, and as I promised, I will post a video about the changes of Glaive in Monster Hunter Rise. I just didn't say when. But hey, at least it's here. I've been quite busy in college lately, so pardon me. I was actually planning to do the video before the release, but I figured out that it would be better right after the release. In this video, we will talk about tons of changes in Glaive. In the demo version, there are many hate towards the Glaive from the community. For some reasons, I understand it, but still, right now, I'll say it that Glaive is a gnarly weapon to use. Apparently, there are just too many things to talk about Glaive, so sit tight and enjoy. The first thing I would like to talk about would be the core of Glaive, which is the Kinsect. There are some banger changes in it, and some are a big nope. The changes here are not that much visible unless thoroughly examined, and one of which is its timers. Apparently, there have been quite adjustments in terms of buff timers in the Kinsect buffs. For further visual aid, here is a table comparison for World buff timer versus Rise buff timer. In World, the red buff alone stands for 90 seconds, whilst in Rise, it has been adjusted to 60 seconds. White and orange buff got nerfed too by losing 30 seconds, while the triple buff stays the same. However, there is a factor that would increase its timer, and I will discuss it later in the video. Apparently, the green buff is nowhere to be seen. For its effect, it stays the same in World. Combining the red and white buff still gives 10% bonus attack that is scaled from your weapon's base attack, disregarding any external factor. While having the triple buff not only extends the effect to 15% bonus attack, but you also get a free earplug with it. You heard it right, they brought back the triple buff earplug. Another change would be pretty obvious, wherein the controls for targeting is changed to ZR, and it's a little bit confusing from the start since we got used to using the L side of the controller. Kinsects also change. There are now new feature of Kinsect that is called Kinsect types. Before in World, Kinsects were only divided into severe and blunt, but now it has an additional 4 different types of Kinsect: the normal type, speed type, assist type, and powder type. Each of them have their own unique effects except the normal type, obviously. Speed type Kinsect is a Kinsect that boosts both speed and damage of a Kinsect after it is rested for a set of time. To make it understandable, your Kinsect charges while it's in your arms, and when your glaive glows blue, it means your Kinsect is ready for some chaos. So the first hit will always deal an increased amount of damage, and it also flies faster. This is a good Kinsect type for people who rarely use their Kinsects in fights. Assist type Kinsect, on the other hand, from the word, is a Kinsect that assists your hunter by dishing out additional damage while your hunter attacks. When you have the triple buff in you, your Kinsect will automatically attack the monster following the flow of your glaive to dish out additional damage. And of course, it only works when your Kinsect is in your arms. This type is good for players who only use their Kinsect to gather their buffs. Finally, the powder type Kinsect is the Kinsect we know in World. This Kinsect immediately attacks the marked spot of a monster and leaving behind a dust that when hit will deal an additional damage and will deal a status damage depending on the powder status of the Kinsect. For other types of Kinsect, marking an enemy will do nothing. The Kinsect won't automatically attack it, but when you deploy your Kinsect, they will go directly to the mark regardless of the direction you are facing. Of course, aside from the Kinsect types, there are still Kinsect bonuses, and they vary depending on the type of Kinsect. One of which I like the most is the triple uptime. Now this bonus increases the uptime of your triple buff by roughly 15 seconds. This is the external factor I mentioned earlier that increases your triple buff timer. And I think 15 seconds is already a decent time, so I won't complain. It's better than nothing after all. Now, one last thing before I end the Kinsect part of the video. Kinsects are apparently being bought instead of upgraded. I don't really know how to react to that, but I do like that part, as you can just have many Kinsect as you want without worrying about the upgrade materials. Additionally, Kinsects have their levels wherein they can only be used if the glaive you are using have the same level or above the Kinsect level. There are so many changes in Kinsect aspect of the Glaive, and with that being said, I would love to further discuss it in another video. Don't worry, I am currently working on its script as well as the clips needed for it, and it might be uploaded next week or so. Be sure to subscribe to see the new videos. Now that we are done with the Kinsect, we still have a few things to talk about, which is the ground and air moveset of Glaive. If you are a former player of World and you used Glaive more than many times, then I know you do hate one thing: the hit lag from the Tornado Slash. Yes, I too hate that very long hit lag that makes your character vulnerable to any attacks. However, here in Rise, you would love to spam Tornado Slash, as the heal lag from the Tornado Slash is almost gone. Like I said, almost, it's not really gone, but it is reduced to a very few seconds, wherein if you deploy your Kinsect after the Tornado Slash, it almost looks like that there is no hit lag anymore. Thank you Capcom for this wonderful change. Aside from that change, there are few interesting things that you would love to know about Glaive, but I'm telling you, this might be a spoiler for you, so if you don't want to know, then you can skip ahead. If you are still here listening, then the interesting thing would be changing some moveset of Glaive to another move. For example, your Tornado Slash would switch skill to another move, which is pretty awesome. This gives out a variety of choices depending on your playstyle. Apparently, there aren't many changes in Glaive's ground move. All the essential moves like the dodge slash are still here. Now, moving on to the last, aerial. I know some IG users doesn't like aerial that much. I do understand their resentment towards it as it deals low amount of damage. Although in Rise, based on my observation, the aerial damage might have a tiny little buff. I would say it's huge amount of damage increase, but for some reason the aerial damage still does a decent amount of damage compared to World. Like I said, it's just an observation, I'm merely speculating. But nevertheless, aerial moves in Rise is absolutely amazing. Thanks to Glaive's warbug moves, if you think Insta-Glaive is a monster in mobility in World, then in Rise you would enjoy how mobile Glaive is. Both warbug moves allow the Glaive to move from any direction almost immediately, which is faster than the normal Volt, and it makes distancing between you and the monster easier. But sadly, the most utilized moveset in World is removed in Rise. Descending Thrust is gone. Well, not mostly gone. It's actually changed into a Silk Mine move as it resembles Descending Thrust. So basically, it's just gone in the basic moveset. I won't complain much about that since they still put it in the game, although it is a Silk Mine move, but it's better than gone. The thing that makes Glaive fun in this game is that your aerial moves do deal mounting damage, or should I say it builds up damage for Wyvern riding. Since Glaive's Silkbind move doesn't really deal heavy damage, the aerial damage compensates for that loss, which makes Wyvern riding easy with Insta-Glaive. Honestly, there are so many things that makes Insta-Glaive a power weapon in Rise, and I would love to discuss them all. So with that being said, I will start creating more videos starting with tutorials down to guides and builds in Monster Hunter Rise, and of course, all about Insta-Glaive. Let me know what you think about the changes of Insta-Glaive in Monster Hunter Rise. Share your opinions in the comments section. Also, subscribe so you'll be notified about the new videos I'll be making. That will be all. See you in the next video.